Hello, and welcome to episode 31 of the Fiber and Dice podcast. It is called Still Here. We are still here. Sort of. Mostly still here. And, oh good, the cats are riled up right before I start filming. Yay.
Yeah.
So if you hear them, I'm sorry, but I've already locked the children in a bedroom. They're not really locked in a bedroom. They're playing in a bedroom. So, I hate to kick the cats out too. Maybe they will calm down. Welcome. My name is Rebecca. I am Engineers Falcon on Instagram and Ravelry. This is my sweet husband, Charles. He is
CS Guidance on pretty much everywhere.
Pretty much everywhere. So, you are welcome to follow us. He is co-hosting again. I think it's fun to have a co-host, although he really just sits and looks cute and not.
It's hard work.
Yeah, but it's fun to have him here, and he really does help me keep on track and, you know, things like show notes. Show notes. I'm all organized. So, what are we starting with? Peaks. We are home from Disney World.
Yay.
It was a really good trip. It was our best Disney trip ever, I think. We averaged 20,000 steps a day that whole trip. We missed some flights. We ran until we almost passed out in the airport and still missed the flight. So, but once we got there, it was wonderful. And we ate lots of new places and did lots of new things. If you are interested in knowing more about where we ate or what we did, then I would love to tell you. This was our fourth time to do it, so we're not pros, but we are kind of getting the hang of all of it. So if you have an upcoming trip and would like my recommendations, then I would be glad to give them to you. Just PM me on Ravelry. Oh, show notes. Show notes can be found at bluebonnetfibers.com.
Oh.
I should have said that in the introduction part. Maybe I need to write the introduction part down on the show notes. Brilliant. That would be brilliant. Pitfalls. I was going to record early this week. We have had the stomach bug. We came home from Disney. We got home on Saturday, late Saturday. And Sunday we finished unpacking, which is a good thing because Monday through Wednesday night there was stomach bug amongst our children. So I would like to think that since no one has thrown up since Wednesday, we are out of the woods, but I'm rather paranoid. So I will relax at like a week past stomach bug. I will relax on Wednesday. I don't know why I skipped the rest of the peaks. Show notes are useless if you don't read them. The day we left for Disney, we checked the mail on the way out of town. And I had Fiber Club stuff from Yarn vs. Zombie, Year of the Geek. No, it's the other one.
Oh, right.
And this was the Guardians of the Galaxy month. And I get fiber and yarn, and it's my favorite ever. I just have to show you how gorgeous this is. I instantly fell in love with it. I almost took it to Disney with me just so I didn't have to leave it here all by itself. I've got more yarn and fiber than any human being needs. So, I just thought that was really lovely and wanted to show it off. If you're in that club and didn't get your stuff, I'm sorry, I should have said spoilers. I guess it's too late. I guess you're spoiled.
It's been a few weeks. Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully everyone's got it. Oh, good. I just knocked more stuff in the floor.
Okay.
Yay. The other thing, when I got there, my sister said, you didn't, when we got to Lubbock to meet up with my family to fly from Lubbock to Disney, she was like, you didn't check the mail or anything, did you? And I said, no, I didn't check the mail or anything. So I found out later when we got home, back to their house, we were at dinner when she said that. She had backed Twist Fiber Studios Kickstarter for me because I couldn't do it at the time. And it had come in. And I have a beautiful project bag. And fiber, this is all Penelope is the color that matches the bag. And it is beautiful. It's on Falkland. So there's the information on it. And yarn. I like squealed like Christmas morning. I was so very excited to get these that I could not even breathe. And they are gorgeous, and I can't wait to dig in there and make some beautiful things with it. So that was the best start to a Disney trip ever. Getting that the night before we left. So I really did almost sleep with this, like it almost came to bed to snuggle with, because I was that excited about it. Mountain of Conquered things. Other than finishing some audiobooks. Oh, I can show you. This was it was supposed to be on the list. It wasn't. I got Gigi at the Japan store in Epcot. Epcot is one of our favorite places on earth. I love the World Showcase. And we went to Japan 2 or 3 times. But Gigi from Kiki's Delivery Service came home to live with me. And much love. Much love. And we got the movie. We had checked out from the library when we lived in Corpus a few times. And enjoyed it. And so we went ahead and picked it up when we picked that up. Because, I mean, I'm sure we could find it somewhere cheaper. But how fun to have that as our Disney memory as a family. So, Mountain of Conquered things. I have nothing to show you. I finished some audiobooks. But nothing. It was a Doctor Who book. And, I finished the Neil Patrick Harris Choose Your Own Autobiography. I listened to that on the airplane, so I didn't, fall apart, because airplanes, don't like them. I don't like airports either. So it was good. I enjoyed it. It was a little crass in parts, and there is lots, because it's his autobiography, there is lots of talk about sex, and I didn't find it offensive, but other people might find it offensive. I wanted to put that little disclaimer out there. But I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. I like him real well anyway. And this made me really, really like him as a person more, and as just a good person and a good family man. So, I don't know. I enjoyed that. Climbing the mountain. This week, in theory, is the week that I like focus and get stuff done. First on the list is the Mines of Moria hat. I am probably 2 days of focus knitting away from finishing it. So it will be done and off the list. And it can go to a happy home now that it's warm. Yeah. Now that summer is here, spring is here in West Texas, and we're getting back into the 80s. He will have a nice Fair Isle. Well, not Fair Isle, but color work. 2 strands running through all that. After that, I do not think that Christine of the Yarnings podcast, KDLB, has finished her knit along for the harmonized cowl. So it is my hope that I will finish my harmonized cowl this week as well. Those are the 2 big things on the list. And then the next thing on the list is the Monet's Garden socks. I started these at Disney. You can tell by the state of this poor yarn on the end. In true Rebecca fashion, it has been frogged and frogged and frogged and frogged. And now it's frogged to the point that I'm going to have to soak the yarn and let it dry and relax a little bit before I torture it anymore. I was almost done with it last night. Like this much, and the cuff. And it was still too wide. I didn't like how it looked. It was a little bit too wide and a little bit too long. And someone less uptight about that, even gift socks, I think they would have probably been fine, but I will love them 4 to 8 stitches shorter, or narrower, and a little bit shorter. So I went ahead and frogged them one last time. I say that with all the optimism in the world. It will probably not be one last time. But I do like the toe that I combined, like 5 different toes and everything I know about toe making. And so maybe I will have that to show you next week. I hope to show you the toe I put on it this week. But I showed you the frogged version instead. So I will start right back on those. That'll give them a couple days to dry all the way, the yarn to dry. and give me a day or two to scan it up. So maybe by next weekend I'll be working on that again. So those are the 3 fiery things climbing the mountain. I don't know what I'm going to put on the wheel. Probably, I'm still thinking Model Mermaid will be first. We'll see when that happens. Climbing the mountain. I have some books climbing the mountain, and I'm excited about every single thing on this list. First is The Last Unicorn. I am working on filling in holes in my fantasy. Everyone who reads fantasy should have read this book kind of books, and this is on everybody's list of, well, here, what does Pat Rothfuss say about it? The best book I have ever read. You need to read it. If you've read it already, you need to read it again. And everybody who talks about it says that. All of the authors that are about our age were hugely inspired. All is too big a word, but
It definitely feels like all.
So, again, right before we left for Disney, I saw this on the shelf at Barnes & Noble and picked it up because it's on the list of things I wanted to read. And I'm sure we've seen it before, but this cover stood out it was way bright. And I was like, oh, I need that book. And Charles was like, do we have a single copy of that book? And I was like, none.
I haven't read it either. So we're both excited.
So, yesterday, we were talking books with my sister because we were in Lubbock to go see Cinderella. It's very good. You should go see it. I liked it very much. And I was telling her what we picked up to read. And she said, wait, Peter Beagle, he's going to be in Lubbock in April. And I said, he's what? Alamo Drafthouse. And I've talked about Alamo Drafthouse before because I think they are the coolest place on earth right next to Disney World. Is going to be in Lubbock. They are going to screen The Last Unicorn movie from 1982. And then he is going to be there to answer questions and sign books. And the website says make it a real party. So she said, I didn't know who that was. And so she picked up the book this morning. And so we're all going to read it. And then we're going to go and maybe we'll go. She's probably definitely going to go. We may even take off work to go and get him to sign our books.
And it looks like he's doing this kind of around the country. So it may be worth, if you're into this, then it may be worth looking for anywhere he might be near you.
So, yay. Way excited about that. Next on the list is Catherine Valente, one of my favorite authors. Has a book that just came out, The Boy Who Lost Fairyland. The books are, this is book 4 in the series. The first book is The Girl Who Circumnavigated Fairyland in a Ship of Her Own Making. The second one, I know the titles, I just can't remember which one comes first. The Girl Who Fell Beneath Fairyland and Led the Revels There. Book 3 is The Girl Who Soared Over Fairyland and Cut the Moon in Two. And so this is the first time that, in all of those books, September goes to Fairyland and does things. This book, I did not know a whole lot about before it came out. This boy is a changeling troll, and he comes to Chicago from Fairyland. So, I've already started it. I started it in between puking. I finally gave up because I kept getting frustrated by having to stop and start, and there was lots of laundry. But as soon as, or probably while I'm reading, what we'll probably do is Charles and I have to share custody of this book. I only got one copy. We'll probably I will read it during the day, and he will read it in the evenings, and when he gets home from work, and when he's reading this, I will read this.
Then I will read that.
And then he will read this. This is like the 4th and 5th book in a row that I've got to read first, because I read all of the Magician trilogy first, and then I'm going to read these first. It is way fun to be the first one to read it. He reads faster than me, and so usually he reads everything first, and then, he's like, well, what part are you at? And what's happening? And what do you think about this? And he already knows everything, and he gets this smug look on his face that says, I know everything already. You're going to have to read and find out. And this time, I get to say read and find out. It's the best. I might have to read all the books first. It's not going to happen. Oh, and 2 more books that I'm reading first. I'm reading Discworld first.
Oh, yeah.
That is the 3rd thing on my list is Discworld book number 2. I am sure that everyone knows that Terry Pratchett passed away this week. And I texted Charles at work and I said, I am constantly surprised at how attached I become to my authors and how profoundly their deaths impact me. I was really sad. Like, I was just getting to know him and his work and his world, and I had already fallen in love with it. And I kept thinking, I am never, ever going to catch up. And I kind of liked that. It was cool that he was writing books faster than I could keep up with them. And he was so far ahead. And now someday I will have caught up.
It's going to be a little while because he's written a lot of books.
I think over 70.
Yeah.
But I can't remember how many are in Discworld. 40s, in the 40s
Something.
or 50s?
A huge number.
So here in a year or 2 or 3, I will have caught up and there will be no more new Discworld books for me to read. So I like him, and I still like him, even though. So I was really sad. I cried off and on all day, and it didn't help that Twitter and Facebook were just all of these beautiful tributes.
Yeah.
And the last Twitters from it was just all very beautiful and very sad. So, but that made me even more excited and kind of not, because now Discworld is as complete as it's ever going to be. So but that's what I'm reading on my Kindle right now. Base Camp has been abandoned. I have so many things on the list that theoretically I'm going to do this week that I have abandoned Base Camp until I clear some of them off, and then I will start picking new projects after that. Like finishing your socks.
Oh.
I don't have any ducks in a row for you this week, except even when you have completely abandoned your systems because you are sick, or your children are sick, or the real world takes over, or you're on the road for 10 days, or those all things happen in the same 2 weeks, that your systems will be there waiting for you, and you can go back to them. And it is nice to have them in place when things calm down. It is okay to abandon them when real life takes over. And then when real life becomes normal life again, you can go back to them. This is our going back to them week in theory. I know, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, we will be back to normal this week. I never hope too much. Okay, I told you last week that I was going to be adding a new, what's this called? Segment.
Yeah.
A new segment to the podcast. And I'm excited to announce Little Luxuries. I don't know how often I will be doing this, no more than once a month, maybe once every 2 months or once a quarter. But I am going to talk about small businesses that I love that are not fiber related. Obviously, I talk about fiber related stuff a lot.
Yeah, we'll see.
There's trouble brewing in the laundry room with the cats. So businesses, we fiber podcast world have lots of people talking about fibery things, and so I want to talk about some of the non-fibery things that I am very spoiled rotten to. So this week, I'm going to do our first little luxury, and I've mentioned her many times before because I use her stuff all the time, is Kelly B. Jammin. Kelly B. went to college with my sister. Kelly B. was doing interior design, and my sister was doing landscape architecture, and their senior year they did projects together, which is how they met each other. And then they have stayed in contact off and on throughout the last couple of years, and so when Kelly B. started making jam, we were so excited. She makes the most delicious kitcheny things on the whole face of the earth. And I'm really not even exaggerating. You know, I'm a little prone to that. But I am not exaggerating at all. I love her stuff so much. I cook with it. I season with it. Here. Oh, and the reason that I'm featuring these little luxuries is because instead of just selling to friends and family and at the farmer's market and at shows in Lubbock, she has an Etsy shop now, which is not listed on any of these.
Is it maybe there? Maybe there's a link there.
No, that's her blog.
Oh, okay.
There will be a link. You can also Google Kelly B. Jammin Etsy, and it will take you straight to her site. So this is her menu now. I will tell you, she is much like a indie dyer. Can't even see if it's in.
Yeah, it's in.
That she does not have everything up all the time. Sometimes she doesn't have all these things in the shop. She has what she currently still has in stock. But she has jams, and I will show you the ones that are in my current stash, my jam stash. I have a jam stash. How awesome is that? I have blueberry orange. Her stuff is so cute. Yeah. I started talking about Kelly B jam, and the children started circling. This is my very favorite of all, strawberry balsamic. This is when I went from liking jam to loving Kelly B jam. I have pineapple cranberry chipotle. I'm excited. I think we're going to eat this on chicken. We were going to use it to cook chicken tonight for chicken salad, but we don't have grapes. So, and this was one of her holiday seasonings from this year, pear gingerbread spice. You can follow her on Instagram and see what she is cooking, and it is awesome. That's when I fell in love with this. We actually drove to Lubbock to see her at a fair she was vending at to get some of this. The other thing that she makes that I really love, well, she does regular jams. She does spicy jams with jalapeno in them, and they are all delicious. So yummy, and just enough kick that you can tell that you're eating something with jalapenos in it without being like gross. And chocolate jams, which I have not tried yet. They're on my list of things to try. The other thing she makes are seasoning salts. We cook regularly, every time we cook, with either our chili lime salt or our rosemary lemon salt. And I love them so much. And I branched out this time. I just put an order in. And I picked up a lemon lavender salt and a sage orange salt. I love them to cook with. I love them to season salads with. Things that we're just eating. They make all the difference. That little bit of flavor makes all the difference. Yeah. The other thing we get from her that we love are steak rubs. Oh, yeah. And we have, I didn't reorder it because we haven't used ours that I bought at Christmas up. An earthy coffee steak rub that is to die for. Yeah. Even our children are very good. But all I have to say is that we're making Kelly B chicken, and they will like eat grown-up food and be excited about it. Yeah. So she is a good friend, and she makes an amazing, excellent product, and she has an Etsy shop now. So I will encourage you guys to go and check her out and treat yourself to some wonderful salts or steak rubs or jams. And because she is such a sweet friend, she is going to do a giveaway for us. So this is how it's going to work. Between now and the first podcast in April, you are eligible to enter. I will put a thread up that says Kelly B Jammin' contest thread. That's what it's going to be called, Kelly B Jammin' contest thread. I'm sure the engineer will actually be the one who goes in and sets that up for me because he's good at those things and I am. So in that thread, I will link you to her blog and to her Etsy shop. And all you have to do to enter is to go to her Etsy shop or the menu on her blog or anything I've talked about or anything you saw on here that you think sounds good. And tell me what you would like best from her. Like which one sounds the most yummy. And then I will draw a prize the first podcast in April. I don't have a date for that. But the first time, I will draw one of you, and she will send you a jam. So you will have your very own Kelly B prize jam. And I cannot promise you it will be whatever you picked because I don't know what she will have in the shop at the time. But there will be something there that you want, I am sure. Yeah. So I am so excited that she was willing to be our first little luxury and that she was willing to give you guys her jam and share that with you guys. So go and check out her Etsy site. Come and tell me what sounds yummy. And it may not just be one thing. Oh, the other thing she makes that delicious. At Thanksgiving this year, we bought cranberry sauce. Yeah. It's even better than I make. And I make a really good cranberry orange sauce. So lots of fun things. Lots and lots of fun things. So Go and check her out. She is the sweetest, friendliest, kindest person in the whole face of the earth. And I think everyone needs a jar of Kelly B. Jam.
Or 3.
Or 5 or 6 and 4 seasonings, 4 salts, and an earthy rub. So I love these contests where people give away stuff on my podcast. It is the most fun ever. So that is everything up to Gamerly News. And that's the real reason the engineer is here, because he is very good at Gamerly News. I feel like I need to make a confession about gaming real quick before we start this. I don't always like gaming. Sometimes I really hate gaming. And there are lots of games that I think are really, really hard, and I'm not particularly good at it. So just in case you were under the impression that I go around glowing about having to play 1010 in 2015 all the time, I feel like I might have misrepresented myself. I love gaming. I love gaming with my family. I love sharing gaming stuff with my friends. I love teaching people how to game. But lots of times, especially with our 10 and 10 games, I am sulky. So I just felt the need to confess that. But I still think it's worth it. And usually once we start gaming, I have a lot of fun. So. Engineer, what are we backing on Kickstarter?
We are the Housies dice that we mentioned last time. They're still running for about another week. So that'll put them through, what is today? Today's that day.
Today's 15th.
I think it ends the 20th or 21st. So you got a few more days to back that. Again, they are dice, and they're the polyhedral dice. So there's 4-sided and 6-sided and 10-sided, except they are half and half. And they went through, and they did make one post this week on one of their updates. They talked to the guy who has the Guinness World Record for the largest dice collection. He does not have any dice like this. So that was a pretty huge endorsement. And I think they're $11 or $12 for the first set. And if you order multiple sets, then that decreases. And they've got, I think, 6 or 7 mixtures to pick from right now. So
yep.
That's the only thing we're actively backing. There's one I'm looking at backing that ends somewhere around the beginning of April called Burgle Brothers.
It sounds like a stupid game. It's not, but it sounds like
yeah, it is. It's cooperative, and it's essentially, if you think of Leverage or Ocean's 11, you're running a heist, and then there's a couple of sections of board, and they're all just little square tiles, and they're random every time. And so you're trying to get through and crack a safe or recover some item, and then get out the top. And there's guards that move around based on cards that are drawn, and there's some dice rolls, and so it's. But you're all working together, and everybody's got a different role. And so there's a hacker and a mastermind, and well, they're all thieves, but someone who's good at safe cracking. So there's, I think, 8 or 9 roles in there. It looks like a lot of fun, and I think we're going to end up backing that. I think that's it.
It's definitely worth watching the video on the Kickstarter page.
Yeah.
The video was well made and very well thought out, and it. Sometimes you look at Kickstarters and they just don't inspire confidence, and you're just like, I'm not sure this person's going to produce what they think they're going to produce. But this one inspired confidence in me. It made me really like it. I kind of rolled my eyes when he told me about it, and then when I went and watched the video, I was like, ooh, I want to back that. Yeah. So, okay, this is the rundown of the contest that we are running section. We are running 3 year-long contests.
Yes.
The first one is the Fiber and Dice podcast. No, that's what show you're watching. The first one is the Fiber and Dice contest. These are all run on Instagram. You can find out more information about all of them on
Fibers.com
and Ravelry.
Yes.
Information in both places. This is when you are gaming any game, anytime, with anyone, as long as you are knitting or occasionally spinning while you while you game. So take a picture, put it on Instagram, hashtag it, hashtag Fiber, Fiber, and AND, Dice, DICE. Every month, I draw for a prize from people who have entered that, and I will gift you a pattern on Ravelry. And at the end of the year, for everyone who has entered all year long, And there are already 100 entries, well over 100 entries now. I will draw from one of those to spin you a skein of yarn from something in my stash. I will send you a picture of my stash and let you pick which fiber you like, and I will spin it up for you. So I'm actually getting really excited about doing that. I like sharing my spun things with people. The second contest is 2x2x12, and that is the goal of that contest is to get you to play new things. So every month, pick 2 new to you games or games that you haven't played in 2 years. So things either you haven't done in a long time or things that are completely new to you. Play it twice in that month. Enter the thread on my virus database has been updated. I'm sure you guys need to know that information. Go on to the thread on Ravelry, on the Fiber and Dice podcast group on Ravelry, and tell us what you're going to game and play it and post on Instagram and hashtag it Fiber and Dice 2x2, 2x2, FIBERANDDICE 2x2. And if you haven't done this before, if you're just now coming into this, you can still join any of these at any time.
Yeah.
The third contest is 10 by 10 in 2015. Pick 10 games. If you can't pick 10 games, then pick 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, all the way up to 9 games. Or 10 games, obviously. And make a goal to play them 10 times each. Go onto Ravelry. Find that thread. Tell me who you are on Instagram, and what you want to play this year. And you can add to that as you go. So don't feel like you have to pick all 10 right now. Then play.
Yeah. There's no penalties.
Oh yeah, there's no penalties if you don't finish any of this. I want you working toward the goal and gaming more. That's my only big. It's like my big motivation is to get people to game more and try new things. Game. Take a picture of it. Hashtag it. Fiber and Dice 10 by 10. FIBERANDDICE 10x10. Fiber and Dice 10 by 10. Oh, I didn't tell you prizes. For the 2x2 by 12, we are going to give away $30 worth of games off Amazon at the end of the year. Right?
Yes.
So we decided.
Yep.
And 10 by 10, we are giving away $60 worth of games at the end of the year. We'll draw someone from those prizes, and we will figure out, I don't know how the logistics of all that is going to work yet, but we will figure out a way to get you games.
Yay.
And because it's the first podcast of March, we have a winner for Fiber and Dice. Hashtag, 2x2 and 10 by 10, you do not have to have fiber in your picture.
Right.
A lot of those games I cannot podcast. I mean, I can't podcast while I game, although we are going to try that. We've got a game that I have to show you. So in the upcoming months, I hope to start putting up like little short episodes of us actually playing some games. I know I've said that before, but it's still on the list. We're still getting there. Okay, this time we mean it. I actually meant it before. I just didn't implement it.
Yeah, I've lost it too.
I have no clue.
Prize drawing.
Yes, prize drawing was post number 87. It is DFW Knitter, and she was playing a My Little Pony board game. So, DFW Knitter, let me know that you saw this and that you won and what pattern you want me to gift you, $7 or less, and I will gift it to you. So excited. So, what have we done this week in our personal gaming? Mr. Smith, would you like to take the reins on this?
Maybe.
Would you like the list?
Yeah. We tried a game at Disney, and we found that even though we can get a lot of games in our bags easily, having the energy at the end of the day to play them is more of a challenge. So we didn't really do any of that.
In the past, we have quit earlier. We have gamed at Disney in the past.
Yeah.
But we quit earlier in the day, and our babies were little, so we'd be back at the hotel for longer stretches or coming home at 7, and then we were still awake till 11. So we had good evening time. But since the kids are, virtually 11 and 12 now, they were able to go until we were all ready to pass out. So there was no gaming at Disney.
Yeah. We played one game of Harbor when we got back. which required more thought than really we had energy for. It looks very fun, but we need
It does
more
look
rest
fun.
before we play it again.
It didn't go well.
Yeah.
I was like, tell me what to do again. What?
But it's set in a little fantasy harbor town, so you've got dwarves and orcs and elves and mermaids, and basically you're just trying to have the most control over the buildings in the harbor and ship goods.
It was fun.
It was fun.
But it
and
can be played better than we played it.
Yeah. Then when we had the stomach flu, then
This was next.
that was next, wasn't it? Yeah. Then we played Lord of the Rings, the 11 card game, which we do enjoy, and we may not this time though. This quest just destroyed us pretty much in 2 rounds. Normally, a full game takes about a dozen or so rounds, and yeah, we were mostly dead after the first round and completely dead after the second. So I've been doing some more research, and we're going to come back with different strategies and cards next time. I did find that this is widely regarded as the hardest quest ever, out of like the 50 or 60 that are out now, including a couple dozen since this one came out like a year and a half ago. There's been plenty more since, plenty more before, and this is still at the peak of difficulty.
This is knowledge I would have appreciated going into this quest.
Yeah, and it was probably somewhere in the back.
It was really discouraging to get beat that bad that fast. Like, ugly. Do you remember which quest we were on?
It's called Into Athelion.
Don't go into Athelion.
No.
Don't. Bad. Nope, he's going to build us some dwarf decks, I think is the plan.
Yeah.
And then we are going to try again with dwarf decks instead of normal. Well, I mean, the
Yeah.
dwarf decks aren't abnormal, but they are not our normal decks.
They're more built to play off each other, and so you get a lot of power a lot quicker. Whereas ours take a little bit longer to accelerate, and you don't have time for that in this one.
There is no time. You are dead in two rounds.
Yeah.
So bad.
So we learned a lot. We then went to Lubbock, and we played a couple games with from her sister's collection. One of them was Lost Temple, which is
That's not the one I was all excited about.
Yeah.
Carry on.
That's why I'm saving that one.
Okay.
We actually played this one second, and it is a race game where you're all jungle explorers, and we're racing through the jungle to get to the Lost Temple. And so each round you end up picking. There's a hand of rolls, and you pick one, and then you pass them on, and the next person picks one, and so on. And then the rolls get called out in the same order every time. So they've got numbers 1 through 9. And so 1 always goes first, and so on. And they all do different things. And so you're trying to strategize, and you're trying to game what you think the other people are going to do, because some of your powers depend on what they do. And so there's a lot of strategy in there, even though there's like 9 cards and then just a board of 50 spaces.
If you've ever played Citadels,
Yeah.
the hand drafting and the way that those interact with each other is very similar to Citadels, without the assassin. The assassin is almost a game breaker for me.
Yeah, Citadels can get a little.
It can get.
It can
really
break
vicious.
friendships.
It can break friendships.
So before that, we played Escape, the Lost Temple, which is a cooperative game where we're all trying to escape a cursed temple that is going to collapse on us.
It's the most fun game ever. You build the board kind of like you would in something like Legend of Rizit or Wrath of Ashtartalon or
There's a couple other ones where
Betrayal, House on the Hill.
Yeah, you've got a stack of tiles, and you start off with just like 1 or 2, and then when you go to explore off the edge of a tile, you draw the top one from the stack and put it there. And so that layout always is
Different.
random based on what game or how the tiles are for your game.
What is different about this game is that we all have, everyone who's playing has an explorer and 5 dice. And they're not standard dice, they're cool dice. And you have 10 minutes to escape the temple. And you have to roll certain combinations of things to turn over new tiles. Somewhere in the tile deck, between 9 and 12, is the exit tile. And so you have to roll certain combinations of keys or people or
Torches.
and
Yeah.
then there's a curse mask and a blessed mask. But so everyone for 10 minutes is just rolling their dice madly, trying to unlock everything you need to do to escape the temple. And there's a soundtrack for it. So he gives you the little introduction, and then the Indiana Jones type temple crumbling sound effects and music start playing, and he says escape, and everybody starts rolling their dice at the same time, and your dice are getting locked up so you can't use them, and you're trying to use up, there's a stack of jewels that you have to have used up by the time you get to the end or you can't escape. And then randomly, well, it's not random, but to us it was still random because we haven't played enough to know when they're coming. A gong sounds and everyone has to get back to the start tile, or you get locked out and you start losing your dice. And it is 10 minutes of mad, heart-pounding chaos. And she got the big box. So there's 8 or 9 expansions in it.
It's a huge box.
It's a big...
It's 3 or 4 standard game boxes, like Ticket to Ride or Dominion. Imagine 4 of those stacked together.
Huge.
Yeah. It's got 8 or 9 expansions.
It is the most fun game ever. So that's the one that I would like to find a way to film so you guys can see us playing a game of it, because it's a set 10 minutes. At 10 minutes, you're either in or out. Yeah. You're either dead or not.
If you don't all, just like with Pandemic or Forbidden Island or whatever, you all win together or lose together. So if 3 people get out, 1 person's still in the temple, you all lose.
You all lose. Because that person you left behind was so dear to you.
Yes.
That your life just isn't worth living anymore because Charles got stuck in the temple.
Yeah, Charles had extra dice and still could not roll the keys to get out.
He did finally get out, but
there was 5 seconds left.
Literally 5 seconds left in the game. The gongs are sounding and you can hear everything crashing in on top of you, and he's rolling dice so fast and you're like, you are gonna die! It was crazy. Not great for the blood pressure, but way fun.
Yeah.
And we are at 84 games on the year of our 365. That's our personal family challenge, is to play 365 games again this year. So, okay, 42 minutes. What do you think? Game or no game?
We can do this fairly quickly.
Okay.
Probably.
Game of the week is...
Oh, you need this.
Made of Awesome. It is Machikoro. It is... Oh, there it is. 2 to 4 players. 30 minutes, and ages 10 and up. And I think that's pretty accurate. It's not too hard. You are the mayor of a town and you want to build the most awesome town ever. And so your town right now has a wheat field in it. So you start with wheat field. And a bakery. You also have a bakery. I'd forgotten. You have a tableau of cards out, kind of like Dominion. That part is like Dominion, where you have a whole, just hold up a selection.
There we go.
Lots of different kinds of cards that you can purchase on your turn.
And they're all stacked by category.
Yes. So. Just like, the setup really does look a lot like Dominion.
Yeah.
So, on your turn, you roll, depending on what you've unlocked, either 1 or 2 dice. And whatever number you roll tells you what you do. If you roll... you
can go gold.
Okay. When you roll a 1, everyone has a wheat field to start with. You get 1 coin. This is a blue card. So you get 1 coin from the bank on anyone's turn. Blue cards happen similar to Catan. If anyone rolls a 1, you get a coin from the bank. So... that's one way you get money, is when other people roll things that you have blue cards for. There are green cards. Get 1 coin from the bank on your turn. So if you roll a 2 or a 3, you get a coin from the bank if you own the bakery.
And if you have 2 bakeries, then you get 2 coins, and
yeah.
so on. So it expands out.
The other color card in the basic setup is a red card. If you have a harbor, this is from the harbor expansion.
Oh, sorry.
You get 3 coins from the player who rolled the dice. All of these are, whoever rolled the dice has to pay you money. So basically they came and ate at your sushi bar, so they owe you 3 coins. So anytime someone rolls a 1, you get money from them.
Yeah. There's a cafe and a restaurant and other ones. So.
As you get into the more expensive buildings, the fruit and vegetable market, if you notice, these have symbols on them: coffee, bread, wheat. As you get into some of the more expensive cards, this one costs
That much to build.
two to build. It's not more expensive, but it is only when you roll 11 or a 12. You get 2 coins from the bank for each wheat establishment when rolled on your turn. So anytime you roll an 11 or a 12, you get 2. I dropped the wheat. Anything that has this symbol on it, you get 2 for. So you kind of start.
Yeah. You start trying to build your engines where they all kind of work with each other.
Engine, that's the word I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
The way you win this game is there are 4 things that your city needs to be an awesome city. They are a train station, a shopping mall, an amusement park, and a radio tower. They have varying costs from 4 to 22. The first person to build all 4 of them wins. And when you buy them, they unlock
different powers. Like one of them, like at the beginning of the game, you can only roll one of the dice. Once you have a train station, once you've built it, then you can roll 2 dice. And so that's...
Or 1. And
yeah,
it's not... When you roll 2 dice, you have to add them together. You can't use them separately. So if you want to roll wheat or sushi bars, then you can only roll 1 dice. But once you have unlocked the train station, you get to choose. So on a basic turn, you roll the dice, you obey the dice, do whatever they tell you to do, and what everyone at the table looks to see if there's anything they can do on that dice roll. And then you buy a building if you want to. And the first person to buy all 4 of the special buildings wins. There are some purple buildings that I didn't talk about.
They kind of mess with other people more.
They mess with other people more. We haven't used them a whole lot. TV station, are they all on 6s and 7s?
They're all 6s, yeah.
This is the 6 card. Take 5 coins from any one player on your turn only. So purple is the other color of card you can buy.
This one lets you take other people's establishments, essentially.
Take a non
that symbol.
Yes,
so basically
this
a
symbol,
non-purple card.
A non-purple card from another player on your turn only. So those are a little more aggressive. We tend to play a little nicer. That just made me think of Citadels. And it's hard to play nice in Citadels. Yeah. Some games you can't play nice in.
Yeah, they're just designed to mess with other people.
But this one we play as a family. We enjoy it very much. It's one of our 10-10. Is it our alternate?
It is our alternate.
It is our alternate for 10-10.
But yeah, and we talked to the kids, and they loved it, and insisted the next morning we played again.
Yeah.
Because
it was that much fun.
Yeah.
We have the Harbor expansion. It just came out a couple weeks ago.
Yep. And there's another one, Millionaires Row, that's supposed to be out, I think, the latter half of this year.
Yep. Again, you can't play the expansion without the base game. There is a cat hitting the computer. I am so sorry. Tesla, either come show your face or go away. She's looking at me like you are a crazy woman.
Rub against the computer instead.
So the Harbor expansion adds a harbor and new buildings, 2 new cards that you have to build to win. Yep. So this time you have to build 6 instead of 4. And we like it a lot. It's a great family game. It is, I would say this would be if not a completely beginning gamer, this could be a gateway game.
Yeah, I think so.
If not a gateway game, then definitely.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely on the level. I would say it's on the level with Catan or Ticket to Ride or.
Yeah. This would be a good game for game nights. It is not long. It is not overly complicated. I can see us playing a game of Betrayal at House on the Hill, and then a round of Machi Koro and getting snacks and drinks, and then digging back into Castles of Burgundy or probably not Robinson Crusoe. I can't imagine that we play Robinson Crusoe.
That's probably like an only.
That would be like you have a game night to play Robinson Crusoe, which is why we haven't played it yet. So that is our game of the week, Machi Koro. Do you want to say the tagline tonight, or do you want me to?
Go ahead.
Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. We will see you again in March. Bye.
Bye.